I never thought owning my own home would feel like walking on a tightrope. The smell of fresh-cut grass still clings to the early morning air, and the rising sun stretches lazy fingers across the cul-de-sac, painting the cracked sidewalks gold. My little brick house sits proudly at the curve, a modest 3-bedroom I worked 10 brutal years to afford. Every Saturday, I sit out front with a cold drink, watching my neighbors wave as they stroll by, half smiling, half staring. There's always that tension, that invisible line between me, one of the only black homeowners in the Oak Ridge Estates, and them. It hums under every good morning and tight-lipped nod. Still, I make it work. I mow my lawn twice a week, keep my bushes trimmed to regulation height, per HOA rules. Never leave trash cans out past collection day. Always polite, always invisible. That's how you survive here. Until lately, things have been off. First, it was little things. A garden hose left uncoiled across my driveway. HOA violation notices slipped into my mailbox for weeds that weren't there. Strange glances from the neighbors that lingered a second too long, like they were waiting for something to happen. Then, last Wednesday, I noticed it. Oil stains at the edge of my garage. Big, black blotches on the clean concrete I scrubbed last weekend. I frowned, brushing dirt off my jeans. I hadn't moved my car in days. My sedan sat parked neatly in the center, exactly where I left it. Had to be a leak, I figured. Maybe something I hadn't noticed. But as I stood there staring at the stains, a cold prickle crawled up the back of my neck. Something didn't feel right. Across the street, perched behind her azalea bushes like a hawk in pearls, Mrs. Catherine Munson, Karen, as the younger families called her, watched me. Sunglasses pushed high on her brittle blonde hair, mouth pursed like she was sucking a lemon. Our eyes met. She didn't wave, just turned and disappeared behind her perfect white door. Oak Ridge Estates prided itself on being exclusive, secure, family-friendly. Unspoken, mostly white. Unspoken, folks like me were tolerated and not welcomed. I didn't want trouble. I never wanted trouble. But lately, trouble seemed to be circling, waiting for its moment. I shook it off and went back inside, telling myself not to overthink it. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe I was just tired from the graveyard shifts at the hospital. Maybe a sharp thunk echoed from the garage door. I froze. Another thunk. And then the low, mechanical whine of the garage opener activating. My blood turned to ice. I hadn't touched the remote. No one else was supposed to have access. A sliver of fear sliced through me as I crept toward the garage door, connecting to the house, pressing my ear to the cool wood. Beyond it, the faint, unmistakable purr of a car engine. Inside my garage. Someone was inside my garage. And somehow, deep down, I already knew that I cracked the door open an inch, heart hammering against my ribs. Through the sliver, I see the metallic glint of a white luxury SUV, a brand new Lexus, sitting where my own car should be. Its engine idles with a smug little hum, like it belongs there. I clench my jaw, confusion and anger tangling in my chest. I know every car on this block. I know who drives what. That SUV isn't mine. It isn't family. It isn't invited. Before I can step out, the driver's door swings open. Out steps Mrs. Catherine Munson. Curran, perfectly coiffed, perfectly pressed, and perfectly unbothered. She doesn't even glance toward the house. She just digs around in her oversized tote, yanks out a reusable shopping bag, and strolls casually across my driveway toward her side gate, as if this is her home, as if my garage is just hers to use. I press my back against the wall, disbelief curdling into something hotter, sharper. Maybe it's a mistake, I think. Maybe her remote got programmed wrong. Garages get mixed up sometimes, right? Except my gut knows better. Knows the way she looked at me across the street. Knows the way she never parked her precious Lexus outside like the rest of us peasants. And now here it is, safe, hidden inside my house. I wait until she disappears behind her fence before stepping out. The air tastes stale, charged. I walk slowly around the SUV, my sneakers crunching against the clean concrete. A faint floral air freshener smell wafts from the cracked window. The Lexus gleams, spotless except for the front license plate, hanging by a single screw. No note, no apology, just entitlement, shining under garage lights. I pull out my phone, snapping a quick picture, just in case. Just in case. Because deep down, I know how this works. If I call the police, they'll ask questions. Why were you in the garage? How do you know it's not stolen? Are you sure you own the property? And if I confront her without proof, there's no telling how fast it'll spin into something ugly. I slip back into the house, chest tight. Hours pass. I pretend to clean, to cook, to do anything but obsess over it. But every time I glance out the window, that white SUV is still there, sitting bold and smug like a decoration. And the worst part? Nobody else seems to notice. Nobody else seems to care. Across the street, Karen hosts her little garden club meeting. Laughter floats over on the breeze, sharp, brittle, like they already know, like they're in on the joke. I wipe my hands on a dish towel, pulse racing. This isn't just parking. This is a message. You don't really belong here. And if I don't stop it now, it won't end here. The next morning, the Lexus is still there, mocking me. I stare at it from my kitchen window, coffee growing cold in my hand. Something inside me snaps. No more second-guessing. No more hoping it'll magically go away. I slip on my jacket, square my shoulders, and march across the street. Karen's front porch looks like a magazine ad. Perfect hanging ferns, a welcome friends, mat, a seasonal wreath. Welcome friends. Unless you're me. I knock, hard enough to rattle the glass. A few seconds later, she swings the door open, smile tight as a wire. She doesn't say hello, doesn't even pretend to be surprised. Yes? She chirps, blinking at me like I'm the one out of place. I keep my voice steady. Your car is in my garage. She tilts her head, frowning like she's trying to solve a riddle. Oh, is it? A small performative laugh. Silly me. Must have gotten mixed up, somehow. All these houses look the same, you know. They don't. Mine has a red door. Hers is blue. Ours is the only house in the cul-de-sac with a black family name carved neatly on the mailbox. Karen clucks her tongue, not waiting for me to respond. I'm sure it's no big deal. I just needed somewhere safe to park for a few days. Homeowner privilege, right? Homeowner privilege. She says it like it's a joke, but her eyes are daring me to object. I didn't give you permission. I say firmly. She smiles wider, teeth flashing. Oh, don't be difficult. It's not like you're using it. The words hit harder than a slap. Not like you're using it. Not like you deserve it. I inhale sharply, fingers curling into fists at my sides. Move it, I say. Today. Karen shrugs, casual as brushing lint off her sweater. I'll get around to it. Eventually. And just like that, she shuts the door in my face. Doctor, by noon, her SUV is still parked in my garage. By evening, another notice appears on my door, a bogus HOA warning about improper storage of a non-resident vehicle, implying I'm at fault. I march down to the HOA office the next day, armed with photos, timestamps, even a video clip of her exiting my garage. Mr. Blevins, the HOA president, barely glances up from his desk. Well, perhaps if you had kept better communication with your neighbors. He mutters. Translation: if you were less confrontational, less black. My hands shake under the table. You have proof. I remind him. I show him the photos, the video. He sighs like I'm the inconvenience. I'll look into it. He says finally, voice thick with condescension. But you know how it is. We try to maintain a spirit of community here. Community. Another word that does include me. That night, I sit alone on my porch, stare across the street as Karen sips wine with her friends, tossing back their heads in laughter. Her Lexus still sits snug in my garage, bold as ever. Something dark coils inside me. If no one else will hold her accountable, I will. I spend the next 2 days gathering everything. Screenshots of her HOA leadership profile bragging about maintaining neighborhood standards. Video clips of her entering my property without consent. Documentation of every violation she's racked up over the years, but only enforced against others. I'm not alone, either. Quietly, some neighbors start murmuring too. People Karen's bullied, harassed, fined for minor infractions. An older Latina couple who got fined for too many lawn ornaments. A single dad who was threatened with eviction for leaving a bicycle on his porch. Turns out, Karen's kingdom has cracks. And I'm going to be the one to tear it down. Saturday afternoon, the neighborhood buzzes with life. Kids riding bikes, sprinklers hissing, barbecue smoke curling into the sky. It's the perfect day for pretending everything's fine. It's also the perfect day for war. I wheel a folding chair onto my driveway, park myself in full view of my garage, and wait. It doesn't take long. Karen struts across the street in wedge heels and oversized sunglasses, cradling a tray of lemon bars like she's queen of the block. She doesn't head for the sidewalk. No, she beelines straight toward my driveway. And just like that, without a glance, without a word, she punches a code into my garage keypad and marches inside. My blood boils. I stand up slowly, every eye on the street suddenly turning my way. Can I help you? I call out. Karen spins around, fake surprise plastered on her face. Oh, just checking on my car, she says sweetly. You know, since some people have been making a fuss. She laughs lightly, expecting the crowd to laugh with her. Some do. Nervous titters ripple from her friends gathered on nearby porches. Others stay silent. Karen swings open the SUV's door and slides inside with the casual entitlement of someone stepping into their throne. She revs the engine, smiling at me through the windshield like this is some private joke only she's winning. I walk up, slow and deliberate, until I'm standing inches from the driver's side window. Karen lowers it just a crack. Move your car, I say low and firm. She rolls her eyes dramatically. Oh, please. We both know you can't do anything. I'm on the HOA board. I have permission. You people always get so emotional over nothing. The words slap harder than fists. You people. The neighbors shift uncomfortably, some pretending not to hear, others exchanging glances. I force a tight smile. Permission? She grins, triumphant. Mr. Blevins signed off. Said it was fine. It's all documented. My heart pounds, but not with fear, with adrenaline, because this is it. The moment she thinks she's untouchable. I pull out my phone and tap the screen. The Bluetooth speaker I set up earlier, hidden just behind my porch planter, crackles to life. Karen's voice fills the air, loud and clear. Just needed somewhere safe to park for a few days. Homeowner privilege, right? Oh, don't be difficult. It's not like you're using it. You people always get so emotional over nothing. Each word lands like a gunshot in the still afternoon. Karen freezes, color draining from her face. The neighbors go dead silent. I lift my phone, showing the recording screen, the timestamp, the undeniable proof. Funny, I say, voice calm, slicing through the silence. Because Mr. Blevins told me there was no documentation. And your little confession here? Trespassing. Unauthorized use of property. Potential hate crime enhancement. Karen stumbles out of the car, hands flailing. That's illegal. You can't record. In my own garage? I cut in, with posted surveillance signs. Her mouth snaps shut. Across the street. Phones are out. Cameras are recording. Whispers swell into murmurs. And now the Queen's Court is watching her fall. Karen blinks rapidly, still searching for some invisible parachute, some authority she can call on to bail her out. But there's no rescue coming. Not today. I fold my arms and wait, because this isn't the end. This is only the beginning. Karen's face flickers, first white-hot with rage, then pale with fear. She stumbles back, voice pitching high. This is harassment. I'll call the police. Already did. I say calmly, tapping my phone again. Sirens wail in the distance, growing louder. Karen's eyes widen. Her head whips toward the street as a patrol cruiser turns into the cul-de-sac, sunlight glinting off its polished hood. 2 officers step out, Officer Torres and Sergeant Brooks. Both of them have that same look I wore earlier, tired of games. Karen's bravado crumbles. I was just using the garage temporarily. It's a misunderstanding, she gushes, rushing toward them, lemon bar tray clutched like a shield. Sergeant Brooks holds up a hand. "Ma'am, step back. We've received a report of trespassing and unauthorized entry. But I'm on the HOA board," she cries. "I have authority." Officer Torres glances at me. I nod once and hand him my phone. The recording queued up crystal clear. Karen's own words fill the air again. "Homeowner privilege. You people." Officer Torres' jaw tightens. His gaze hardens as he lowers the phone. "That's enough," he says grimly. "Ma'am, you're under investigation for trespassing, harassment, and potential hate crime violations under state statutes." Karen gasps, her hand flying to her chest like she's been shot. You can't arrest me. I'm a good neighbor." A few people on the sidelines, people she once bossed around and fined for petty infractions, snort under their breath. Sergeant Brooks steps closer. "You'll have the chance to explain that downtown." But Karen isn't finished. No, you don't understand," she shrieks, spinning toward the gathered neighbors. "He's lying. He manipulated the audio. He's trying to make me look racist. You all know me." The crowd stays silent. Even her usual clique, Nancy, Bill, the Warrens, avoid her eyes. I let the silence hang heavy. Let her stew in the isolation she built herself. But it gets worse, because just then Mr. Blevins, the slimy HOA president, comes panning down the sidewalk, sweating through his khakis. "What's going on here?" he demands. Officer Torres fills him in briskly. Blevins tries the same tactic. "I approved it. She was just parking temporarily." "Funny," I interrupt smoothly, "because the HOA bylaws explicitly state no homeowner can use another's property without written consent, which she didn't have. And by the way," I pull out another file from my pocket. "Here's the HOA audit request I filed last week, including 37 instances where you selectively enforce rules disproportionately against non-white homeowners." The color drains from Blevins' face. Karen's mouth flaps like a dying fish. Officer Torres takes the folder without hesitation. "Looks like we'll be expanding the investigation," he says. Karen makes a last desperate move, darting toward her Lexus like she can somehow flee the scene. But too late. Sergeant Brooks moves faster, clicking handcuffs around her wrists. The satisfying snap echoes down the block. A stunned hush falls. Phones record every second. Karen's carefully curated empire, her perfect community, her fake authority, crumbles right there on my driveway. And the best part? I'm just getting started. Because I haven't even told her yet what's happening to her precious Lexus. The sound of the tow truck rattles down the cul-de-sac like a battle drum. Neighbors step out of their homes, cell phones raised, capturing every humiliating second as Karen's Lexus, once her gleaming status symbol, is lifted off my driveway, wheels dangling helplessly in the air. I cross my arms, watching without a shred of guilt. She parked it there without permission. She abused her power. And thanks to local ordinances, after filing the correct abandonment report and posting the required notices, which Karen conveniently ignored, that car was now legally mine to dispose of. The tow driver tips his cap at me. "Where to?" he asks. "Scrapyard," I say smoothly. Full dismantle. Karen wails from the back of the cruiser, face pressed against the barred window. "You can't do this. It's a Lexus. That car is worth $30,000. Officer Torres doesn't even blink. Should have thought about that before you committed trespassing and theft of space. The tow truck groans as it hauls her car away, a mechanical goodbye. I let myself breathe for the first time all day. The heavy weight Karen tried to hang around my neck, the quiet intimidation, the condescension, the microaggressions, shatters right along with her illusion of control. Word spreads fast. Within hours, the HOA message boards are ablaze with furious posts, demands for Blevins' resignation, screenshots of the police report, videos of Karen's arrest racking up thousands of views. People whisper about the audit too, about how Karen and Blevins selectively fine black and brown homeowners for minor infractions while letting their friends slide. Now, no one's letting it slide. The city's Human Rights Office launches an investigation. The HOA is forced to suspend operations pending a full review. Neighbors who once looked through me now nod in acknowledgement. Small, cautious smiles. Apologies and awkward stutters. It's not perfect. It's not some magical fix. But it's movement. Late that evening, I sit on my porch as the sky deepens into a bruised purple. The scent of fresh-cut grass floats in the air. Peace. Real peace. Across the street, Mrs. Henderson, who once flinched when I waved, crosses the street with a tin of cookies. I just wanted to say, "I'm sorry," she says, wringing her hands. I should have spoken up sooner. About everything. I study her for a moment, measuring sincerity. Finally, I smile and accept the cookies. "Thank you." I say, "It's not too late." She nods, blinking fast, and scurries back to her house. I lean back in my chair, feeling the world settle a little more into balance. Out of the corner of my eye, I spot the empty garage where Karen's Lexus once squatted like an invading army. Gone, just like her influence, just like the fear. A hummingbird buzzes past, dipping low over the porch flowers before darting upward into the wide-open sky. Freedom. Real, tangible, hard-won freedom. I sip my sweet tea, let the cool evening wrap around me, and close my eyes. Tomorrow, there'll be more battles. There always are. But tonight belongs to me.